Good morning. I'm back at it. Still sick. Never ending cold. Uh, it won't go away. I don't know why. But it's no fun. How's everyone doing this morning? It's Friday. It's a new day. End of the week. Any plans for this weekend? Yesterday I asked the question, what positive thing has happened to you lately? I got some answers. I can figure this damn thing out. What's up, Adam? How are you doing, man? Still sick. Son of a bitch. It's like this cold will never go away. I don't know. What time's your podcast, dude? I'll tune in if I can. What time are you going live? How you doing, Neil? How you been? Happy Friday. Yeah. Hopefully I start to feel better soon, right? Sucks. One positive thing is I was triggering instead of giving and drinking. I made a phone call. Yeah, man, that's awesome. You were saying that yesterday. That's cool. 8 p.m. in the UK. It sounds like what, 3 o'clock here? Yeah, man, that's good. Your first meeting. How'd it go? Did you like it? I'm gonna go over some of the comments I got yesterday from some people with this question. Harper came up with this question yesterday. I thought it was a good idea, right? Ask what positive things have happened in your life recently. I thought I was over the sickness, but apparently I'm not. It never goes away. All right. Andrew said, every day wake up to this. Wee man, his son. And every day wakes up to his son. Happy Friday. I've been the best. What are you doing, Neil? What old habits? Oh, right now it's 9. The meeting I've been like. That's good, dude. I've never been to one of them, but yeah, it's awesome you went. And you didn't mind it, right? Jen says I've been able to stay clean for 17 days. That's a positive thing, right? Lucinda, spending time with my family on Easter while protecting my peace. I got to visit my mom and grandmother the past weekend. Also got to see all my in-laws. That's great. After 4 surgeries on my right leg from a car accident 21 years ago, I'm able to wiggle my toes on my right foot for the first time in 21 years. Wow. That's crazy. 21 years, man. No, what's making you self-harm again? That's good, Adam. Twice a week. That's good. That's great. 96 days sober. It's a journey, huh? That's crazy. 21 years. I encountered my first narcissist since escaping my abuser. I was able to identify why I was feeling so insensely rageful towards my fight response with the trigger. I was able to navigate the situation successfully using my strategies and hold strong on my boundaries. Oh, that's always good to stay away from one of them, right? Making it to 30. Waking up, managing to get out of bed. Leslie. It's my night frights. What frightens you at nighttime? What is it about nighttime you think that does that to you? Jackie says building a stronger connection to one of my cousins. I only have 3, and they live all the way down in New Zealand. We've been messaging on videos, chatting for a few weeks now. That's great, huh? Ricky says my preschoolers every day. He must be a teacher. BK says I learn new duties at work. Good morning, Rick. How are you doing? Orange says that I wake up every morning and I'm still here, still fighting, never give up. Man, it's damn cold. It's so annoying. Says as an ERRN now, helping patients that are battling the things I have once battled and continue to struggle with. Understanding them because I've been there and making a difference and helping the best I can. That's awesome. Kelly, had my last round of chemotherapy yesterday. 6 rounds of chemotherapy, huh? Good evening. How you doing? Man, it's so stuffy. O'Sullivan says I had a wonderful afternoon tea with my mom and family over Easter weekend. Amanda says I got a new tooth today. As weird as it may sound, I really did. A new tooth. Being with my granddaughters is the best therapy. Judy. 60 days completely clean and sober. Yeah, live each day. Right. Each day. To the fullest. The willingness to face another day. Gloria. Hendrick says my grandson loves me. I gotta get a tissue. I'll be right back. Oh, wonderful. the never-ending cold, man. Oh, shit. Good morning. How are you? Good evening for you. Yeah. Going over positive things that have happened to people. Helen started studying to become a real estate agent, and I've made progress in my son, whom has autism, on the toilet training and doing the whole mountain over the molehill thing. Super proud of all about that. That's cool, right? Jackie, building a stronger connection to one of my cousins. Oh, I read that one already. I had what I considered an amazing phone interview. Did I go read these already? Natalie, I was able to start walking with just a boot after 73 days of recovery at the foot surgery. Anyone ever have foot surgery? I'm sure that's not too pleasant. God loves me. There's one. Made up with a friend that I didn't see in a while. That's good, right? Because it's not good to hold grudges. You know, you hold grudges and they just last forever. And what's the point of it, right? We all make mistakes. There's no point to hold a grudge because it's not healthy. What do you guys think about holding grudges? It's not the best thing to do, huh? Battling depression head on, from Clyde. Learning to love self and setting boundaries, healthy boundaries. Actually, my sickness made me think I needed people to be around me, and in return, those same people will be the cause of being sick. Wow, isn't that true, right? Sometimes your surroundings are what the problem is, and until you identify that and change your surroundings, better yourself. Got a new mattress, best sleep ever. It's the simple things in life, right? I've been cleaning a lot, and walking helps with my thoughts for sure. Getting out and clearing your mind, really helps. I know one thing that can go is just damn cold, man. It's unbelievable. Good morning, Michael. How are you, man? God allowed me to wake up this morning. It's always a plus, right? From Chris. Well, not to me, but my son, which affects me all my life. He went to treatment and got off of fentanyl. Oh, man, that's awesome. Going on 3 months now. Fentanyl is it's so weird with fentanyl because I remember when you hear about fentanyl coming out and they were putting it in heroin, people were dying from it, right? Fentanyl overdose, dying and shit. And now like people like actually use fentanyl. But it's like so weird to me because a couple years ago it was killing everybody. And now people are just doing fentanyl. I don't understand how it works. I don't get it. It's not grudge and ash. We all need to learn to let go, but sometimes it's made your heart to move on. That grudge turns into hate, which is not. Yeah, exactly. That's why they're so bad to hold, right? Yeah. Jacqueline. Jacqueline, I got to wake up. I got to see my husband before we went to work. I have a job to go to. I got to walk my dog with my healthy, full functioning body. I got to eat a taco. I got to listen to the word before work. I got to drive my fully optional or operational car. Simple things in life, right? A lot of simple things in life that we can be grateful for and be positive about. Elizabeth, a mental shift to a positive focus on the future instead of simply surviving the present. It's well said, huh? I woke up with God's good grace, said Debbie. The homie Gino filled my bucket of a shitty day. Them affirmations of go-go juice. Not sure what that means, but I got some help working on my car. Yeah, simple things in life, man, that bring us happiness, right? Positive thinking. Smashing 10 miles every morning for the last 3 months and staying out of the psych ward, and yesterday getting discharged from the crisis team. Damn, 10 miles a day. That's a long run. Fentanyl problem is bad. That San Francisco wastewater tested very high in fentanyl, and they said that the drinking water probably. How does the fentanyl get into the water? That's crazy, man. My son just came home from an 8.5-month deployment. He's in the Navy. That's completely changed my outlook on life. That's awesome. Seriously, it's having a friend who texts me at 9:30 p.m. every night to say good night and sleep well. You're the best. Yeah, I text 2 friends every morning. I've been doing that for holy hell. Since Sean, the guy, the reason I started this page, since I don't know if I ever told you guys this, since he took his life, I've texted his son and one of his best friends every morning for a lot of years, every morning. I mean, I might have missed a couple here and there, but I mean, Sean has passed away since 2017, so 7 years now. 7 years I've been texting him every single morning for 7 years. There's some meaning behind it, but it's pretty wild, right? Every morning text the same person, 7 years. Finding funny, crazy stuff at the OP shop, the OP shop. John, I didn't drink today. Clyde, health. Right, these are all great things to be. Yeah. So fentanyl. Fentanyl is put into drugs, right? Like heroin. And it was a lot more potent, right? So they would put it in there to get people, more high or whatever. But then it was people were ODing from it, but now people smoke it. So fentanyl, I don't know. Well, that's what we have the internet for. Justin, what do you mean that's crazy about texting them? Yeah, I can show you my phone, dude. Oh, yeah. Oh, that is nasty. I got you now. So they're digesting the fentanyl, and the fentanyl is going into the water. Oh, man. That's pretty sickening. Yeah, fentanyl. Let me see here real quick. Jennifer says, I lost my job last Monday and I called back a recruiter who had reached out to me about a position. Called him back on Monday and told him my situation had changed. He immediately set me up for an interview with him following day Tuesday. Then I met with the CEO. Oh, there you go. That's awesome, right? That's amazing. Congratulations. To get high, but the problem with it, tiny pinch that can kill. Yeah, I mean fentanyl can take out a whole city block. is the problem with it. That's the problem with it. Let me share the screen here. Yeah, you're welcome. So I get this damn thing bigger. Can you guys see that? May cause toxic effects. May make drowsy, dizziness, drive cautious. Yeah. So fentanyl. I mean, there's so much shit. I mean, what's the main purpose for it? Dealers are starting to put it in every drug they sell. So basically, when the homeless addict other stuff, they don't know. I heard it's going in like cocaine now and everything. So I mean, buying drugs off the street. Right here, fentanyl is used to treat breakthrough pain, sudden episodes of pain, and cancer patients at least 18 years of age who are taking regular scheduled doses of another narcotic, opiate, pain medicine. Yeah, so it's release pain, so it is kind of like, I guess it is like heroin, but more potent. I mean, there's videos. I seen a video of a police officer. He pulled this lady over, right? She had some in a bag, and he just smelled it, and I mean, he almost died. It was pretty bad. It was pretty wild. Okay, thanks. I know most drugs are meant to be used for medical reasons, as my son-in-law is on drugs from ADHD. Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, this shit's way. Rick, he passed away. I take it. I mean, I'm not trying to be ignorant, but or disrespectful, but there's people that OD and do recover. But obviously, I don't think he did. My condolences. That's sad, man. I know, just me alone, I know. I have to go think, but I know at least two people that were pretty close that have OD'd. A couple years ago, it was really bad in my area. Like, I mean, and here's what happens with this. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it, but from what I mean, obviously I never did it, but from what I do and like the research and listen to the stories and shit like that. So let's say the heroin dealer has someone that ODs off of his heroin, right? And it's all named different. All right, they name it whatever. But people, so let's just say I would OD. Let's say Rick and whoever else was on and found out I OD'd from this heroin or whatever, they would go to that dealer, right? Because they want to be as close as the death as they can be, right? Because I guess that's the best feeling. I don't know. I never did it, but yeah. So it makes you wonder, right? So if this dealer is selling drugs that are making people OD, more people will go to that dealer because the high is so much better. If that makes sense. That's what I've learned from it. I'm trying to understand why you'd want to take a drug and just nod out, right? And like do nothing. I mean, I don't know where it takes you in the mind or the body, but it must be a special place because it's sad, right? It's really sad that it took over. I mean, and it makes you wonder, right? I mean, you don't want to be I as you can tell from these conversations, sometimes I'm a conspiracy theorist or whatever you want to call it, but I just don't believe all things that I see, right? I think there's reasons behind them. Like, the crack addiction in the 80s. Why do you think crack just showed up on the streets in the inner cities? You know what I mean? You don't think people put them there to keep people at bay, right? Uh, you keep a group of people at this right here, right? So you never be here. You never be where they're at, right? You know what I mean? You'll never be here. We'll just keep you right here. You know what I mean? Right where we want you. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I think shit's done. That's my true opinion on that. Um, yeah, I mean, I can show you some videos right now if you. I don't know if they're live right now, but I can check. Oh, what? God, I'm not sure what that is. um, yeah, I mean, it's sad, man. I hope these people. I'll show you a video right here that'll blow your mind. This is Kingston. Um, I'm sorry, Kensington. Sorry, I always mess it up. Look it up. Summer, how are you? Popping in. I'm working, but just want to say thanks for going live. Yeah, no problem. How are you? Um, San Francisco provides them pipes yeah, I don't understand that, right? Why feed into the addiction? I understand. Okay, a needle. So me and you don't share one, and we don't pass drugs. I get it, right? But you're feeding the addiction. You're not helping these people. Like I said before, what I just say, right before you said, I said they keep you right here. They want you right here. They want you right. They don't want you to better yourself, right? They don't want us. They want to keep us at. I mean, I don't want to get too in depth with this, but this is my true feelings about life and how the government and shit works. They want to keep us against each other, right? Racism. You know what I mean? Like we're all human, right? Uh, I don't care the color of your skin. We're all human. There is one race, human race, right? We're all from one God in my eyes, right? Whatever you believe is fine, but they keep that divide, right? It's always got to be left or right. There's nothing in the middle, right? They don't want nothing in the middle. They don't want you to be in the middle. They don't want us to do what we're doing right now, right? They don't want us to have these conversations. They don't want us to. Why do you think certain things were being censored a couple years ago during that pandemic? They didn't want the truth to come out. They don't want us to. They don't want us to unite and be one. Come on, I mean, it's every day in the news, man. It's every day in the news. That's good, Summer. Sometimes that's all we can do, right? I truly believe that. I truly believe they want divide, right? When you have divide and you have chaos, who wins, right? Like I said, they'll keep people at bay and they'll give them some free shit, right? Like remember the one year they gave out free cell phones? A free cell phone, dude? Is that really what we need in life now? I mean, and you're talking this is in the Obama administration. A free cell phone, that's what's going to do something for somebody? A free cell phone. And then they give us 2 grand or whatever over the pandemic. 2 grand? That's it? That's all you're going to give me? These people lost businesses, man. People lost their businesses. People lost their homes. And you're going to give them 2 grand. Come on, dude. But then you're going to send trillions of dollars overseas. I'm talking about the U.S., by the way. So, yeah, I believe it, man. That's what I'm talking about. I believe it, man. I really do. Oh, yeah, for sure. You keep people at bay, dude. Like once you like I said, I don't want to get too deep in it because people might not think like I do, but I mean, to me, it's kind of obvious at what they do to us. That's why I don't watch the news, right? The news. Let's just say you go CNN, and then you got the Democrats, and then you go Fox is kind of like Republican. It's just a divide, dude. Everything's a divide. Why does there got to be a label and everything? Why can't you just be a human that thinks this way? You know, why can't you just be a human that thinks? Why can't it be like that? You know what I mean? This is just my belief. Why do I got to be labeled as a Democrat or Republican? I'm trying to find this damn shit. I forget the name of it. I mean, what's your guys' opinion on that? Yeah, I know. Morning, Rick. Um, Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. I forget the damn name of this page, and I can't find it now. Pretty wild. But yeah, it's definitely a big problem. I mean, I don't know with the fentanyl, man. It's crazy. San Francisco isn't the same anymore. It's sad. I used to love going there. Yeah, I mean, while I was out there for a little bit, cars are being broken into everywhere. There's signs saying like, don't leave your car unattended. Don't leave your luggage in there. I mean, I was at the Golden Gate Bridge. Oh, you threw that in there too. Yeah, it's so funny. I didn't even read the whole thing before I said that. Yeah, everything's getting closed down in San Francisco. You're right. They're boarding everything. I just watched the thing on that. When Vietnam was at war, all that stuff that came from Vietnam, I think it was cocaine. I really don't know. I can't remember. Cocaine, Vietnam War. A lot of marijuana was over there. Maybe opiate from the fields. I don't know how much cocaine, but I'm getting there, folks. Yeah, it's very. Oh, here we go. Look at this. This is live. This is live footage I'm about to show you. Hopefully it loads. This is Kensington. This is Philadelphia, PA. Good morning, Tammy. How are you? Let me try to get it to load from over here once. Now look all right for you guys. You can hear it. I mean, this is just one street corner. I don't know why. Oh, Philly? That's like an hour and a half. Good. I'm a little stuffy this morning. I don't know why this thing won't load. Maybe because it's live. It's a bus station right there. It's a train station. See the tents in the background? There's a guy doing drugs right there. This is the Philadelphia, PA, man. Yeah, they have all kinds of cameras. 3 or 4 different cameras. I mean, this guy got a fire going right in the middle of the street. I mean, this is every single day in Philadelphia, and nothing is done about it. Oh, it's bad. This is just one little video, man. Yeah, a lady passed out right there. I came across this channel one day and I was mind blown. There's a lady right in here sleeping. Yeah, this is day in and day out, every single day. I mean, let it happen. I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's like an open drug market. Nothing's done about it. I mean, you guys ever see anything like this before? I think that's signs like Kensington and Allegheny Road. So what happens is all these trains, this is like where all the trains meet, right? The train stations come together here, and people get off the trains, for drugs, and then they never go back home. I mean, this is at night. Obviously, it's not as busy. Right there, that's the train station. So the only thing the cops do is they'll come up here on the sidewalk here, and they'll make sure no one's blocking these steps so they can get in and out of the train station. Other than that, open drugs. Yeah, it's sad. Let me see if I can how do I do that? I mean, that's live footage there. Yeah, this is what was the question? Yeah, this is Philly, man. This is just one city in the United States. This is in PA, Philadelphia. Let me see if I can get one for during the day. Yeah, it's pretty sad. I mean, it's definitely heroin, yeah. Well, it's all drugs, heroin, crack, coke. Hold on one second. I'm trying to get you during the day. Yeah. It's this is the reality we're in, dude. This is during the rain too, Let me get it while I wanted there. And when I first seen this, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me, man." That ain't a good video. Yeah, you're welcome. I always wondered if anyone else ever seen it before. Let me trying to get another video here that shows it during the daytime. When people do come and they feed them. I don't know why this damn thing's doing this. Yeah, it's so sad, man. Like I said, this is just one city block, right? This is just one block. I want to show you what it's really like, and it's like, so you can actually get a real glimpse of. Just gotta find the right video. It's crazy. I don't have too many more on there. But yeah, you've never seen it. Someone asked me yesterday, actually, did you ever drive through there? Didn't somebody ask me that? If I ever drove down through Kensington, and obviously I didn't, but oh, see, they must have took them down. You can't watch a lot of the videos, huh? They don't let you rewatch them, I guess. Did you guys ever see that before? I mean, people. It was so consistent. It was so consistent that people would like actually know the people like on the streets. Like, oh, another thing that they would do that was pretty cool. People would order them pizza. So people that were watching them live videos would order them pizza, and then you could see like the pizza man roll up, and that was pretty cool. I thought I was like, hell, what a great idea. Yeah, it's sad, man. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a cool thing about it. I mean, here, I'll show you this real quick. Here is you see how that lady's leaning over? That's what happens when they do that drug.
Today's guest is
What happened here?
somebody who says what he wants to.
What? I don't know why I won't load it here. Wait a minute. I mean, he got a bonfire in the middle of the city. Yeah, exactly. They turn it back to him. They just turn it back to it. It's I mean, where else are you gonna go and just start a bonfire in the middle of the street? And nothing's done, right? You got a fire here, you got a fire over here. You're not talking. This ain't backcountry roads. This is the middle of Philly. Like, what do you think the mental health? Like, you talking about mental health? You see this guy here with his leg rolled up? There's probably mad bruises on it. There's probably it's from the infection. What do you think the mental health is in this situation here? You know what I mean? It's horrendous. This footage is live too, by the way. This is live footage. This sound. I don't know. They must have added sound. See this guy on the street right here? I mean, this is our streets in the United States. I mean, it looks like a third world country. I'm gonna get some coffee. Right back. Yeah, you think something would be done, right? What makes you so upset and depressed just watching it actually? Yeah, it's sad. Sad, man. And like I said, this is just one. Now you got the so then I just fast forward it. It's still alive. But now I guess the fire company can't put the fire out.
You could definitely do something.
Yeah, it's a shame. That's enough watching that. Sad, right? Do you guys have that in the cities where you're at? Where you live? It's a lot of sad things. Yeah. Anything else you want to watch? Yeah, John, it is crazy, man. It's very crazy. Jennifer says no. I wish I could show you it. I wish I could show you it what it really looks like because that ain't shit right now. I mean, that ain't nothing. Yeah, it's the city too. It's like yeah, underneath the bridges, yeah. I mean, that's like every city, what you seen there, not to that extent, but in the US, man. That's the reality of it. And what are we gonna do about it? What are we I mean, we're obviously doing nothing. I think at one time they made them all get off the street, right? And they cleared it all out. And then what do you think happened? Well, it's apparent what happened. They just came back, right? It just came back. There's not enough for the mental health, right? Instead of getting them the help they need. I mean, there's obviously a reason why you're on the streets, right? Either you chose to be there or you just fell on hard times, and they don't do nothing for them. You can't just keep feeding the addict drugs. How's that helping them? I don't get it. I just don't get it at all. Oh yeah, I did hear about that guy. Yeah. Yeah, you can't. I mean, you got to put a stop to it, right? I mean, imagine if your kid, right? Like, think of it this way. Imagine if your kid, I don't have any. We know this by now. But imagine if your kid acted up or acted out and you just kept letting him do it. You kept letting him get away with it, let it get. What do you think that kid's going to turn into? Right? Your kid comes up and he's doing drugs in his bedroom, right? And you just keep giving him drugs. You keep giving him drugs. Here's more drugs, more drugs, more. What's going to happen to your kid? It's the same situation, man. These people don't have nobody. You know what they have? You know who their family is? On the street. Yes, there is some family members that are trying to find their loved ones in the streets of Philly, right? But you can't just keep giving them shit. You can't just keep giving them. What do you think? I mean, it's a lose-lose situation. They're either going to die or stay addicted to drugs. I don't understand all the money that we waste on the stupidest shit, and you can't help people. I mean, they gotta be willing to help themselves, right? To a point, but giving them drugs, man, that's not the answer. That's not the answer at all. It's very, very sad. Good morning, O'Sullivan. How are you? Yeah, it's crazy, man. When I came, oh, we were looking at we were talking about drugs and heroin, fentanyl. I was showing some video of Philadelphia and how bad it is down there. They shot a suspect who killed a police officer during a traffic stop, and when they found him, they unloaded. When the reporter asked why they shot him 68 times, he replied, "Because he ran out of bullets." Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do, right? If you can't just go around killing people. That's just not how that's not how this life works, right? It's sad. It's sad to see. I'm going to my mom's house with the cat because we're getting a new boiler fitting. What's that exactly? Yeah, Osama, I was talking about them earlier. I actually read your comment. I forget it was something about your mom and Easter, I think, right? About the positive things Harper asked yesterday. Remember that question about ask something positive, right? What is something positive that happened to somebody? Good morning, Amanda. So we started out with that, and then we got into drugs and the opiate addiction. Oh yeah, I mean 68 times. Come on. Now you're costing taxpayers more money. That's by $68 in ammo right there. I mean, dead is dead, right? I mean, I guess you're trying to prove a point. You know how it is. Once one cop starts shooting, they all shoot. I mean, once the threat is no longer there, you can quit shooting. You know what I mean? You don't got to keep shooting the guy. Here's a video here, something about mental health. You guys want to watch it? I'm not sure what it is, but we can find out.
Bipolar 1, I got help to push back.
I got help to push back.
Sullivan, what happened? What do you mean? With that cop? Jennifer's telling a story about her town. Is it a documentary? You guys want to watch this? I've never seen this before.
I literally thought I was losing my mind.
What do you think?
My arms would go numb. My hearing actually would become muffled. You have a sense of you're in a dream. You can't breathe. You have chest pains.
Yeah, this sounds
You
good.
tremble. You sweat.
Never seen this before.
You just feel really bad. You might feel like an impending sense of doom.
Pretty cool, actually. So far.
I get really bad anxiety if I don't do certain things
Can you guys hear it good? Sounds all right? I don't want to be going through here. You guys can't hear this.
in a certain way.
You want to be productive and you want to get all of these things done, but then at the same time, you find yourself very distracted or in this self wallow of like, I can't really do anything.
I didn't feel in control when it came to my thoughts. I was impulsive, lying a lot. I felt absolutely hopeless. I didn't think that there was a way to feel better. I didn't think that I wanted to feel better.
It's really hard to talk about even to this day.
Our traditional ways of hospitalizing people, it's not working.
Mental illness and poverty, those things kill you.
Meds at one point were like $4,000 a month.
The whole asylum and people being restrained and locked up is not what we do now.
Mental illness is real. Our suicide rates are higher than they've ever been. People who have mental illness die sooner. So people are dying.
People think that you look at somebody and can see they've got a problem. People have mental illness and they look like normal people.
Couldn't afford the house, couldn't afford to take care of my grandmother. When people's minds break, they break.
Huh, it's pretty good already, huh? I don't know how I found this, but
Cranberry and Behavioral Health, how can I help you?
Hi, Carmen, Dr. Latia, you paged me?
There's a 23-year-old female in the emergency room who is suicidal. She overdosed on approximately 40 Cymbalta tablets. She does have a history of cutting. She recently started seeing Dr. Ingram outpatient. Poor sleep, poor appetite. Her UDS was negative. Her alcohol level was 0.059 at 11:30 a.m. She has no significant medical issues. Could I get admission orders for her?
Look at that. That's so sad, right? It seems like it's going to be a hell of a documentary. I don't know how I stumbled upon this, but so far it's been pretty so accurate, right? I'm pretty excited. I don't know when this is recorded. Oh, there you go. Film it does a mental health patient, a professional. Oh, this is going to be good. If anyone else has any other documentaries like this, let me know. It says Michigan.
What is that giant pumpkin or what's the name?
Yeah.
The outside in the terrace we used to sit, right?
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
that? It's very, very good. Actually, my father, he wanted one of us to become an actor. My dream was always to be a writer and a film director, actually. But then I got into medical school, and then I found out that medicine is something that I like, and psychiatry is something that is my passion now.
What is
Dal,
it?
yeah.
Bhavik, dal, that tadka dal. Yeah, and this is peppers with tofu. Because my son is vegan, older one.
Taking care of the brain, the mind, the psychosocial stresses, and having the compassion that's what psychiatry is, in my opinion. Okay, let's eat. I have two passions: my writing and psychiatry. Hopefully, through this medium, this documentary, we can actually let the people know to bring your family members right away. Don't waste time. You can, just like somebody had a heart attack, and if they need a stent placement or a bypass surgery, you have to bring them right away.
That's so true, right? If someone has a heart attack, you're not going to wait around. You're not going to wait around and ask them, hey, do you want to get help? Hey, you think it's time to get help yet? That's so true. I never thought of it like that. Like, why do we wait? You don't wait when it's a physical, you don't wait when it's a physical illness or a problem, right? If you have a stroke, you're not going to just say, hey, we'll hang around here a little bit until you're ready to get help. No, you take them to get help right away. Why do we wait around when it comes to mental health? It's the same shit, right? Such a good point.
If somebody has a first psychotic break or a first manic break, they need to come right away.
43 million. It's sad. This shit's way bigger than what people think. That's my first advice sometimes, seek professional help. I'm not a professional.
At first, you don't know where it's coming from. For me, a lot of times it happened driving down the road. So imagine you're cruising down the road 70 miles an hour, enjoying a good song.
That's me right there.
And all of a sudden, you can't hear, your arms are numb, you can't breathe. You're convinced you're dying, having a stroke, or you're going to lose your mind right there. And there's no safe place to go other than the shoulder of the road. And that's the type of fear that people live with that have it. They know that when it comes on, it's a trauma every time. You get re-traumatized with each panic attack. And I think that's how the disorder develops. Once you've had one, and you have another, that kind of snowball.
So true, right?
I was feeling so dark and nasty inside that I was, seeking out situations that would take that feeling outside so that I could rationalize it, so that I could say, well, this is why I don't feel good. So a lot of hopelessness, a lot of impulsiveness, a loss of rationality, a loss of sense of self.
Sure. If they say anything, guys, if there's anything happen that you can relate to what they're saying, put it in the comments. I want to see how many people actually deal with what they're talking about. Like that guy pulling over on the highway. Yeah, I've been there. You know what I mean? I definitely been there.
It's mind-boggling. It's frustrating. It's amazing at times. It's almost like being in this very toxic friendship. You're like, oh my God, yeah, let's go do all of these things. And you're like, oh my God, I have all of these other things at home that I should be doing. And you're just like, I'm having fun with my friend though. And my friend is ADHD.
What will happen to Fred now? What happens to all of them? The men and women from every walk of life who each year pass through doors like this, into the mental hospitals of our land. 3,200 men and women all gathered together in a modern mental institution, a city in itself, complete with every facility for effective treatment. A favorable environment and human comforts are essential in any therapeutic system.
Yeah, I think it was definitely looked at differently, right? Back in the day. Still not the best, but it's better. You can't just put someone. Let me pause this for a minute. You can't just put somebody mentally ill and lock them up, right? What do you think the outcome's going to be? You know what I mean? What do you think the outcome's going to be? It's fucking terrible. Yeah, it's nuts. So far, it's a pretty good documentary.
They're
Right?
producing an electrical disturbance of the brain, a gross disorganization of the usual patterns, and for some reason we don't understand, when the patient recovers from the treatment, they seem to be in a better state of mind.
Gonna do another one, Paul? You know, in the good old days, you would hear, yeah, my grandmother was in Traverse City State Hospital and she died there. You know, we hear that. I got one schizophrenic whose grandmother died there.
As a society, we have little tolerance for bizarre behavior. So we build huge institutions and look away.
If you look at all the countries, any country you go to, the old state hospitals, they were terrible. They looked like lepers' colonies.
No one seems to think that mental hospitals are the answer. At best, they're a holding operation until we think of something better.
About 60 years ago, there was very few medications. We really didn't have very much treatment as far as psychopharmacology was concerned. Even psychotherapy was not very well evolved. You know, in the past, they used to do lobotomy in some patients. Patients used to get restrained. Sometimes they would lock the patients in a room. For example, a bipolar patient who is manic, they would just lock them. Previously,
Is it working?
very severe bipolar or schizophrenic, there was no way they could be maintained in the community because there was not very many medications, but they got a safe place to go, but they were locked there. They didn't even have a lot of visiting hours. And even if there was very little visiting hours, the family wouldn't want to come. It's like out of sight, out of mind. They used to be called asylums, and that image and that history is with people even now.
Okay, keep us posted.
My aunt, I feel
Stop real quick. You said, I just want to bring this up. You said they treated them? Like, that's why no one came out about it. I forget what year this was, but why in the hell would you speak out about your mental health? That's how you're going to be treated. Who wants to be put in isolation when you're mentally sick? Right? Not too many people.
really bad for her because when her mental illness first started, she did go into the state hospital right away. And I'm not sure how long she was in there, but once she got out, my grandparents kept her at home. She didn't work anymore.
You know what I'm saying?
She didn't go out on dates anymore. Her life became centered around this mental illness.
It's like they were embarrassed.
Talking to my dad one day, he said, they never told us about that because they didn't want to burden us as kids. And I think it's something that you need to talk about. Mental illness is real. It's something that all of us can suffer from.
When I was a kid, we used to go to Traverse City to snowmobile races. And I remember how spooky that hospital was. Nobody in the community even wanted to talk about it because, you know, we'd ask a lot of questions as kids. It was spooky. Huge fence around it. You never saw people. You didn't see anyone outside. You know, it'd be in the summer and there's no one. It looked like a prison.
Places where the female patients can work. Now, you will work them. It was voluntary. This wasn't slave labor. Like people in town were eventually talking about. Too much.
I mean, look at that fucking place.
This is not like Disney World that you are taking a tour of, okay? These are real patients who were there. So you need to just tell them that this is what happened.
Now, if you were mentally ill, how would you feel about living? I mean, come
Those kind
on,
of
dude.
tours, you know, they need to be more sensitive to that. somebody has a family member who has severe illness, or they themselves have a severe illness, then they feel terrible about those jokes. They don't like those jokes. I get referrals from all the primary care physicians, and they will tell me, and they will use the words like, this patient, he's really a cuckoo. And I tell them, I said, don't use that word. Although he's saying, oh, the patient is not here. I said, no, but don't use that word. You can use words like, I think he's psychotic or he's depressed, but don't use those words.
Have you ever worked in a mental hospital before?
What was the word he said? I missed it. Sorry. If anyone heard what he said, can you type that in there?
Oh, sure. I know all about loony bins. We prefer to think of this as a hospital where we treat sick people. Well, I didn't mean nothing. No, I realize you didn't.
A lot of people, they say, man, I had a panic attack today. I forgot my lunch money, or I locked my keys in my car. I think that is so overused. It's a little bit insulting, because if people understand a clinical panic attack, it has nothing to do with willpower. It has nothing to do with whether you're masculine or feminine. A panic attack has to do with brain chemistry.
I encounter professionals who don't know that I have a diagnosis, and it's almost like being a fly on the wall, because I've heard some.
This pisses me off, by the way. I think this is a great documentary. I never even heard about this. I just came upon this. If you're just joining here, but so far it's been really eye-opening.
Really wild things said about BPD when the assumption was that there was no one with it in the room.
A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to go kill myself. And I realize like how offensive and how hurtful that could be. And a lot of people just say, oh, I have anxiety, when they're just feeling anxious in a moment.
When someone has gotten to know me, when a coworker has gotten to know me and said something ill-informed about borderline personality disorder, all it has taken me is to say, I have borderline personality disorder. And I've even been told, well, you don't seem like you have BPD. Well, what does that look like?
Even that sensitivity, I mean, I have to be honest about it. It takes some time for it. Like, it took a lot of time for me to learn that sensitivity, with the words that I use, or about the way I approach a patient, or even the family members. It takes some time, but it has to be there.
Hey, how you doing?
When I first started having my problems, I would get manic, and then I would be depressed, and it cycled like every 3 or 4 days. It was like being on a roller coaster. When I was manic, I couldn't sleep and I couldn't eat. And then because you don't sleep, I crashed. I would be in bed for 3 or 4 days. And how do you take care of children when that's what's going on with you?
See, a lot of people can relate to this, right? There's people in this. I mean, there's only 7 of us here, but there's someone that can relate to this.
If things go all right in life, I can navigate through it and don't be so down, I don't have to have medication. People don't really know that living with pain is just unbearable. It's unbearable.
It was very, very difficult because I had no idea what was happening to me. The high, and that's when I did the things that were absolutely not me. Hypersexuality, drinking more alcohol. I had an affair, feeling that someone cared about me since I didn't really care about myself. And knowing that that was wrong, I didn't want to do it. I love my family, love my children to death, but it's like I had no control whatsoever. I've been in therapy and had this since 1976 probably, and it's taken me probably 30, 35 years to get past that guilt.
I don't have the medicine that I need because the co-payment on one of the medicines that did work was $125, which actually is kind of stupid because you would forfeit $125, whereas the actual with Medicare pays for is $700 for a refill. So I can't afford that. That's gonna cost me, but I'm on disability because of anxiety, bipolar depression, And then a lot of times I think if things were okay, I won't have the problem.
One of the first things I hear from a lot of people is that they're stressed about money, but directly because they don't have enough to cover their basic needs, or indirectly like, well, I can't afford to keep a car, so I can't get to a job, so I can't this and I can't that. That's like the first or second thing out of most people's mouths when they come in. Who in that situation is
What do you guys, any people that are here at 501, what do you guys think about this so far? You like it?
going to say, well, let's tack on a massive medical bill for me to walk into a hospital with this crisis, and then to see a doctor, and then to see a counselor, and then to pick up meds every month? It seems insurmountable.
In the 70s, it was like 1977. There wasn't help like there is now. I did end up in mental health in Saginaw for several days. Didn't help. They did a lot of shock therapy on patients, and they would come back and they would just sit like zombies for a couple of days. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be me if I can't straighten my life out.
More than 100,000 people are shocked every year. This woman is about to get a series of treatments. She is in her early 30s, married, the mother of 2 children, and she's depressed.
I know in India, they used to do it as outpatient. So it was not even done in an operating room. Many countries, it was done in an outpatient. So there'll be 30 people waiting outside, and the psychiatrist will be waiting there with an assistant with the electrodes. Like, okay, I'm going to burst 30 people today. And they used to use that word before very loosely. If a patient is waiting in the line, it looked like the slaughterhouse, although we know that ECT works very, very well. The whole protocol of how to do the ECT has gone through a lot of revisions. In my opinion, it's like really giving a jump start to the brain. It actually increases the permeability of the membrane. So when you take a medication, it takes some time. ECT does. So
you still do these treatments, right? ECT. I think that's what that lady was telling me about. A little bit ago when I did that interview, right? ECT. Let me look through my notes here.
See robust response with ECT, but that visual has still stuck. We always are struggling with that.
I don't think they really knew how to deal with people back then. And so the big thing was, oh, you just need more sex. It's like, no, because that's the last thing that I wanted. I didn't feel worthy to be even touched. And it's like, no, that's, so I didn't stay with him for sure. And there just wasn't the psychiatrist around that were able to help people.
That was a psychiatrist.
That was a psychiatrist. So I thought, whoa, that's definitely not where I'm going.
I think one of the saddest things I see is parents with kids not helping them become a part of the community so the community can open their world up.
Do you mind your mother talking for you?
That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it just easier sometimes?
It's easier. A lot of words don't come out of my mouth.
So you were saying that there were some medical professionals who wanted to put Nathan away.
Yeah, because they stayed.
That was in 2005. I couldn't get really those old records. I did talk to Dr. and he remembers that.
Put him away for what?
Everybody in the unit felt.
What do you mean put him away?
Yes, and I remember Dr. telling me that he never felt that he'd be able to get him under control with medications. that he was going to need.
Why should this kid be put away because he's mentally ill? He never caused any loss, injury, or harm to anybody. To anybody. You want to put him away? Put him away for what? Fucking disgusting.
To be institutionalized. They were going to place him in Carroll during that first admission because for some reason they thought he was homeless and had no support. And it was like, no. We're going to work on the medications.
This is the story of an incredibly persistent mother. Incredible, really. She did everything to fight. I think only mothers can do this.
But it worked.
Yeah, he looks pretty peaceful to me, right? He looks fucking pretty peaceful to me. It's disgusting.
The community mental health movement started in '63. President Kennedy signed the CMH Act, the Community Mental Health Act in '63, which initially gave federal funding to sites throughout the country. Not very ubiquitous, though. They were in Michigan, about 11 sites. And then over time, to be frank, federal funding abated, mostly because of the Vietnam War. And so what happened, states started to step up. And then in the 70s and 80s, the state realized people didn't need to be medically incarcerated in state mental hospitals, so they could begin to live lives that are fully
No shit.
So the CMHs were the ideal support mechanism.
Fucking people. Here we are. 90% of us, 80% of us are either parents, go to work, raise kids every single day, right? Every single day we're functioning mentally ill people, right? And now they're just understanding this, that you can be mentally ill and still be a normal person, still have a normal life, still raise kids, still do everything we do, right? It's fucking disgusting.
All right, so we'll make sure every door has to be closed when we go in or out for the safety. So like anytime you guys walk out, just close it. When you're being admitted to a mental health unit, you want to feel like you're at a place where people are going to be kind, warm, that type of thing. Especially if you've never been in a mental health unit. It is the most scariest thing you can go through because the stigma of mental health is what is our hardest barrier. As far as the hospitals go, I think they're trying to make improvements so you're not seeing people just locked up forever. A local community hospital like McLaren Bay Region has a behavioral health unit where people come and they stay in the hospital. And the goal of that type of a hospital is let's get them in. They might be having suicidal thoughts. Maybe they're having homicidal thoughts. But they're not safe to be out in the community at that point. A danger to themselves or a danger to someone else. So we get them into the hospital. We get them stabilized on their medication. And then they get to go home again.
And how is she presenting right now in the emergency room?
She's surrounded by family. Like I said, she's guarded, but she's very sad.
Okay, so she's very, very depressed.
Very depressed, and yes, there's clearly some stressors, but she's not forthright with what they are right now.
Okay, but she is agreeing to sign voluntarily, so we do not have to petition her or anything.
Correct.
Okay, so admit under Dr. Nicholas, diagnosis major depression, voluntary patient. She has no home meds, so we will not give anything.
Okay.
But she has been drinking quite a bit of alcohol, it looks like.
Yeah.
So let's start her on the alcohol detox protocol with Cerex. Okay. And we will give Haldol 5 milligram PRIM Q6 hours PRN and Wistril 50 milligram PO Q6 hours PRN and voluntary patient, admit under Dr. Nicholas, and that's about it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lathia.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
My contact with them is that someone concerned about them petitions the court saying, my son, my nephew, my father is behaving erratically, threatening that he's going to commit suicide. So someone in the family files a petition saying this person needs mental health help but won't seek it and doesn't appreciate that they need the help. The petition brings them to the hospital's attention and gets them examined. Then an attorney must call on them. That's where I come in. Come in, explain what's happening to them, explain their rights, and at that point, the patient has the opportunity to put themselves back on the path of a voluntary patient. They can sign what's called a request to defer their hearing, that is, set it off indefinitely, and give them a chance to follow up on their mental health treatment voluntarily.
I mean, do you guys agree with that? I mean, at the end of the day, the person that's struggling has the say, right? I mean, you only can do so much. You only can do so much as a friend or a family member or neighbor or whatever situation is, right? So at some point, they gotta be willing to get the help. I mean, do you guys agree with that? You can't force somebody. You know what I mean? I think it'd be kind of against your rights as a human, right? You can't force them to go to treatment. You know what I mean?
All right, so this over here is the therapy room. We have to be upfront with them right in the beginning, and it's really hard, to tell them that their mother petitioned them to come into the department. And then the doctor certified that they agreed with it. So that's often.
Isn't that love, right? Isn't it love and caring that you want your family member or friend to get better? I mean, I don't understand.
Difficult, but I tell you one thing, they don't leave mad.
Exactly.
Our patients don't leave upset. They don't leave mad. They leave grateful.
Why would you?
And that's probably the easiest part, is to see when you see somebody come in so upset and angry that they were admitted to a mental health unit, and you get to see them walk out. Thank you for the help that you gave me.
It's the first step, admitting it, right? Once you're there, I mean, and they start talking and you start getting the help you need, it's going to all make sense. Never be ashamed of that.
It's a nice feeling.
This is what we do usually. This is 2 or 3 minutes is what we spend. Because, we have 5 admissions in the night, which I can't spend like a lot of time, and I don't need to. The decision I have to make is whether I admit or not admit, whether it's a voluntary patient or petition. The family is supportive. She's agreeing to come in. We'll start the detox from alcohol. And then once we evaluate her, we start on the antidepressant and other things. And then discharge now.
Our major depression is the biggest diagnosis on the unit here. And psychosis is another huge one. Psychosis is the most heavily diagnosed in the whole hospital because there's just so many things that can cause psychosis. It doesn't always have to be mental illness. It could be your blood sugar uncontrolled and you're not thinking correctly. So a lot of times when we go down and screen, those are the things that we have to evaluate. Is this medical issue? Because you certainly don't want to put somebody in a mental health unit when they're really suffering from a medical emergency that's related to their physical health versus their mental. So that's why we do what's called a screen, and we evaluate the patient before they come into the unit.
What did you have before the mural? So the concern wasn't painting, nothing. So it was just
It
bare
was-
walls.
Yeah, it wasn't, it was ugly. How about that? So, and I wanted it to feel like you were just getting therapy. Like if you have to go to a retreat, what does that feel like? You want to see pretty pictures and where you feel like you're not somewhere where you can't leave.
Sanctuary, refuge, hospital. This is no snake pit. The doors are locked, but it's not a prison that we enter. For these locks are meant to protect patients.
longer able to take care of themselves, they depend on others to help them live from day to day.
I so totally disagree with that. He already said they're unable to take care of themselves. Get the fuck out of here, man.
A state hospital, if you think about it, provides food, clothing, shelter, incredibly high staffing ratios. And there was a time where state hospitals made a lot of sense. The medications were nowhere near as good as they are now, and they were really expensive. Now, people through Medicaid coverage and even non-Medicaid can get really good psychotropic medication to live in the community. The supports are really good. We can help people with housing, employment. They can get what are called natural supports. They can live with their parents, their friends, their roommates. People buy their own homes, get jobs. None of which could have happened in the state mental hospital.
What's this?
The only down.
I don't understand. I just don't understand what the fuck he's talking about. Like, at what level of mental illness are they talking here? It seems like they were just throwing anybody in there back in the day, right? Like, don't these people understand that there's hundreds of thousands, millions of people that struggle every single day, and this is the stigma surrounded by it, right? We're all humans, right? We still go to work, we still raise kids, we still do what we got to do while struggling. Like, what don't they understand? I don't understand why this is so. I don't get it.
Downside, of course, is that in a state mental hospital, you're protected from homelessness. You tend to have a job of some type. In the community, those are harder to come by. And if you live in poverty, there's a low-income housing shortage, and it's hard to get employment if you're disabled.
I think it might have been a year ago. I was sitting in church. My landlord called me and said that they're thinking about buying the building. So for me to come and sign the lease, because Holly, if you don't sign a lease, they can get rid of you the next month. And this is true. And that did happen. So here you got people that bought the building, and then the next month, these people have to get out. Each and every one of my neighbors, you seeing them leave. It was awful. It's an awful nightmare. My increase would have been close to $300 for 4 months, and then $500 after the 4 months. And don't think a day go past. I don't think October the 1st was the time when they said that I would be having to get out of my apartment. And then I know it's silly, but then yesterday I said, how many more months I got till this lease is up? And then sometimes I think, what if the owners of the old place come and buy this place too? So I do still have a lot of anxiety about that.
This is just some of my Wonder Woman stuff. I've got Wonder Woman lava lamp. Wonder Woman Gal Gadot like you would buy in the store, not Barbie brand. When I grew up in the very fundamentalist charismatic movement. As a kid, I think I didn't have a full-blown panic attack, but I had something akin to it. We went to see a play called Judgment Morning Ministries.
She had endeavored to train the child in the ways of the Lord. Well, let's see what happened to them on Judgment Day.
And these people they were a traveling troupe, and they would go from church to church.
Never go to church with me anymore.
The play opens up, and you can see heaven on one side. People are dressed as angels, very smoky, and it looked beautiful. But the other half of the stage was dark, and they played this ominous sound, and the darkness actually opened up, and men came out dressed as demons. They had skull faces, and it was just black lights and the red, it looked like real fire behind them. And even as a kid, I had that same numbness that I couldn't articulate at the time. I grabbed a hold of my mom and I whispered in her ear, I said, I can't stay in here. It makes me kind of feel bad for that little boy. I mean, I knew who I was.
I got another one, do you like Lambrusco? I had a very bad experience. One of my patients stopped the medications because the family said that you don't need medications and God will save you. And he had a very serious suicide attempt. He almost died. Thank God he survived. But that actually really opened the eyes of the whole family. I got another patient, a gay man, he killed himself because they tried to convert him.
I'm just going to show you. I'm not ashamed. As a kid growing up, when we'd play war, they'd have guns. My first grade teacher helped me make
Wonder Woman
construction paper bracelets that were yellow, and she cut out the red stars on them. So they'd shoot at me and I'd, which is a pretty cool teacher. And then the Gal Gadot version of the headband. I wouldn't wear this in public. I did once on a dare, but just certain things speak to us. I was always involved with the music and the drama and the youth group. It was the spiritual connection that I think meant a lot to me. But I always knew there was something different about me that I could not talk about. Got engaged to the music director's daughter. And then probably 6 months before we got married, I said, Stephanie, I got to be honest, I can't do this. I'm gay. They actually had a church service when they were trying to pray the gay away. They were trying to cast the demon of homosexuality out of our family. And it crushed my parents and it crushed me at the same time. And that kind of made me feel like I was flawed somehow, that I would come out of the closet and it's like, all right, I've disappointed God now. I've made God mad. I don't deserve to be part of this community. What I didn't know was that genetically, I was predisposed to panic disorder. And that was the right impetus to trigger it. I had this horrible internal struggle. It's like, if I were to die tonight on my way home, I'd go to hell.
If 1 in 5 of us have a mental illness and only 48% or 40% or so get help, that leaves a tremendous amount of people out there in pain. Our suicide rates are higher than they've ever been. People who have mental illness die sooner, 26 to 28 years sooner than people that do not have mental illness. So people are dying.
There was actually a time where I actually had a plan. For me,
people been dying. You know what I mean? People have been dying from this. And it's pretty sad. The more I watch this documentary, the more infuriated I get about the stigma surrounding this, you know what I mean? And it's so sad. It just makes you want to do so much more. Yeah, it's really eye-opening.
It was a lot of different circumstances. I think it was just where I was in my life and the feeling of unhappiness and then having depression on top of that and then feeling alone and not being able to essentially talk about my feelings in a way that I feel confident today. Growing up in my community, a lot of people don't talk about their emotions. My life has always been living in trauma, and that was just because you never really know what to expect growing up Black in America. At any moment, you know what I mean, someone can decide that you're not worth it.
I don't think that matters your race.
I actually remember coming downstairs one morning and Mom was gone. I thought, well, she must be sick. She hurt herself. And he took us there and he just said, well, Mom's sick. And I'm like, okay, 6, 7 years old. You don't question anybody. You just take what they're saying for word. And I remember her coming home and giving me this puppet that she had made. And I thought, well, wow, I'm not sure what kind of sick she was, but she had a good time when she was there. And it wasn't until I was probably about 12, it took about 5 years before anybody even talked about it. Nobody said, your mom was in a mental hospital. She had problems. They just told you that she was sick. So as a 6-year-old, you think she hurt her stomach, she hurt her leg, broken arm. I didn't know. And it wasn't until I was about 12 and
Why didn't they explain to her? Why didn't they educate their daughter of what the problem was? Why did you have to wait till she was 12? If you understood what sick was with your mental, if you understood what sick was when the physical health, right? You understood what a cold was and all that other bullshit. But this at 7, you can't understand what mental health is. I don't get it. You could teach a kid what physical health is at 7, 8, 9, 10, but you can't teach them what mental health is. It's fucking disgusting. Pissing me off.
I think Mom actually brought it up to us and said, well, this is what really happened to me. And I look back now and
So you lied to your kid. You lied to your kid. Why? I don't get it. I don't understand.
See the puppet. And I'm wondering, yeah, I can see why, it was a therapy thing for her. I, at 6, didn't understand why she had left. I knew that she was there for a couple months of, they explained to us that mom and dad's getting a divorce. We understood as much as a 6-year-old's going to.
Okay, let's break this down now. She didn't understand why her mom was there, but she understood what divorce meant. You understood what a divorce meant. You understood as much as you could, right? She just said it out of her mouth. But they couldn't explain to her what mental health was, right? The difference.
And that they're not going to live together. Mom's there for a couple months. And then all of a sudden, dad's there. And mom now moved out. And we didn't know why. And they didn't explain to a 6, 7-year-old why. But keeping it from us probably wasn't the best answer either, because we had questions.
No shit.
But we never felt like we could ask those questions. We just kept it inside, never talked about it. It was a hidden subject.
I look back on those years between the mid 1970s and 80s and keep saying, who was that person and whose coffin began seeing a therapist regularly during the 1990s, but it wasn't until nearly 2000 that she says she got the help she needed.
When this article first came out, had your mother told you ahead of time that she was working with the Bay City Times?
She did. She did. And I remember when the article came out, my dad, why does she got to put our last name on there? He was still very embarrassed to be associated with mental illness.
It's a damn shame. I used to like this documentary. Now it's making me mad. But it's just the sad reality of this. You know what I mean? This is the sad reality.
You guys want to go potty? Want to go potty? Come on. Outside, Kaiser. Let's go potty. Come on.
I think it's important that if anyone even suspects it, to go to a mental health professional and let them evaluate you. I mean, because they'll ask the right questions. They'll put things into words that you couldn't put into words before. I didn't know panic disorder and what it meant, but once I went and saw my first therapist, he said, "Do you ever feel this way?" And I was in shock because I thought, I'm not going crazy. There's an actual list of things that people like me have. And he said, "I've got some good news for you, Noah." He said, "It's treatable." And then he said, "But I have some really bad news. It's never going away." He said, "You will learn how to manage it, but it's never going to leave."
When this started, I would sit on my husband's lap crying. And the doctor said, family doctor that I'd seen for a long time, well, if you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, okay,
Well, yeah,
this would be better. You
that'll
could
fix it.
handle it. And then when I went to someone else, they would say when I was manic, it would be, you just need to go taken out behind the barn and given a good whooping because that would take care of what you're doing right now. That isn't true. That isn't true at all. You need some kindness, some understanding. Good people can do bad things, and bad things aren't because you want to do them many times. It's because of the things that you go through in life.
I'm proud of her. You know, we do bad things in life, things we can't take back, things we can't change, but we can still make it better. And this article helps one other person, just one, makes a difference.
I think doctors weren't sure what to do with me, and this was like in the early 2000s, so like things have changed now, but I've had a lot of labels attached to me that I don't think really apply. A lot of them are still stuck to me. All these labels were given to me to like get me the services I needed, to get me on these medications and to get me these like therapies and stuff that I was given. Maybe I needed to have those labels applied for insurance reasons. I don't know. I do think doctors were just like trying to figure out and like pin something down to like write off and say this is it and this is what we need to do. But I got like a dozen different diagnoses instead and wasn't really treated for what I needed to be treated for, which was autism.
Oh, what a
It's
shame.
really something you have for life and is fundamentally the way your brain works differently versus something you might develop and learn better coping mechanisms and be able to fit in better with society. A lot of times I'll say something that like seems obvious to me and I'll have someone around me say like, oh, I didn't like understand it that way. And a lot of times the same thing happens with like neurotypical people. Like they'll say something, I'll be like, oh, I didn't see it that way. And it turns out like everybody else sees it that way. This is like kind of silly to say, but like, I don't know, it's unique. It makes me unique. Lets me see things differently, I guess. I actually requested recently from my mental health services all my records dating back over 10 years.
What are you hoping to find through those records?
All the stuff I don't remember.
I've tried Zoloft. There was this other prescription that was for like low blood pressure, but there's been studies on it that helps with anxiety, and it just made me feel like a zombie. Zoloft also made me feel like a zombie. And honestly, it was just a very huge turnoff.
With a hypomanic episode, it felt like finally, after all the struggles, I finally have arrived at this place where I feel like the perfect version of myself. Next thing you know, I feel so great. The rules, they don't apply to me. Adderall one way, alcohol the other way. There was one night where I had somehow locked myself out of my apartment. And so I kicked in the back door, and then that broke off these wood shards from the door frame. Next thing I know, I'd taken one of those, shoved it up my chin. Next thing I know, I'm sort of getting drug out of my apartment, full restraints. I'm being wheeled on a stretcher, sedated me, woke up. Nobody came and checked on me. I'm in there for 6 hours restrained, staring at the ceiling. Found a dual diagnosis facility. Dual diagnosis meaning mental health plus substance. It was like 5 or 6 AA type meetings a day. And then I saw a psychologist once the entire 2 weeks that I was there. So I left. So it's just a fully developing, untreated manic episode.
Something that stands out as dehumanizing for me was taking this medication that I knew wasn't right, was making me feel terrible, was making me feel sedated. And verbalizing that, you have to do your best to be on your best behavior and be nice and calm, or otherwise, you know, you can't get your way, or you're manic, or you're out of line, or you need to go settle down. So I was verbalizing that this medication wasn't working for me. I wasn't feeling like myself, and that was written down in a book as a strike against me. It was a bad thing that I had done. So I realized at that moment that I really can't advocate for myself here. That's what it felt like. I felt like I couldn't advocate for myself because I was being unruly or non-compliant. And at the time, I didn't feel that there was anyone there to advocate for me either.
None of us are perfect. But you know how it is, Doctor. You get to know some of these patients, you get to like them, some of them. Patients like Mr. Rusk, a few others, get better. I thought I was in something real big for a while, something where I was doing some good. And they messed it all up.
You see that? See that said nearly everyone that's what the hell did that say? It needs reform. Yeah.
It's hard enough to walk in and say, I need help. And then we have so many requirements.
Was anyone there to advocate for
All right, I got to rewind it for a minute here. Watch. See what they said.
None of us are perfect. But you know how it is, Doctor. You get to know some of these patients, you get to like them, some of them. Patients like Mr. Rusk, a few others, get better. I thought I was in something real big for a while, something where I was doing some good. And they messed it all up.
You know, everyone familiar with the mental health system recognizes that it requires reform. I mean, come on. Why aren't we doing nothing about it? It's called Mental Health Documentary. Here's the name of the page.
It's hard enough to walk in and say, I need help. And then we have so many requirements regarding paperwork. So when someone walks in, we need to be welcoming and we need to say, we're here to help you. And I think that we try really hard to do that. But when you have to do a full assessment on the first day and you have so many days to get the person in, I think those are all really good rules, but it's also a burden in the fact that then you're not sitting there with the person in front of you and not worrying about paperwork. We've been doing this for a long time. We need to make improvements. We acknowledge that, but I don't think it's broken. I think we're serving a lot of people. I think that we're doing it better than we've ever done it. We know that about 43% of people who are dealing with mental illness don't come into treatment. This is a treatable illness that people can get help for and can live full lives.
You really need to see a psychiatrist and get some therapy, because even psychiatric care, having the medication, doesn't take care of it. You have to have therapy along with it to be able to work out your issues. I know I wouldn't be here if it wouldn't be for the psychiatric help that I found, the medications, and my...
Not everybody needs that, right? We're all different. You can't sit here and say, you need this. You need to do this. You can't sit here and say that. I never say that to people. I give advice. I give things you could try, but you can't say you need to do this. What works for you might not work for me. I always say that. We're all different. You can't just tell somebody what they need to do. That's not how this shit works.
My children and grandchildren.
So here's the thing. When you tell somebody that's what they need to do, if I told Amanda, you need to go to therapy, right? That's the only way you're going to get better, Amanda. You got to go to therapy, right? You go to therapy and it don't work. Now, guess what? Now what? You're going to look at me and say, look, Trav, I went to therapy. It didn't work. Now I'm done. I give up. You told me that's the only thing I was going to work. That's why you can't tell people that shit. Everyone's different, man.
They're not all willing to realize that they have a problem.
Exactly. Right there.
Or that there's help out there and it's okay to ask for help. We all need help occasionally in life, and it's not bad to ask for it. It shouldn't be embarrassing to say you have a problem and to ask for help.
That family there gets under my skin for some reason. The way they think about things and the way they handle things, and like saying that, I mean, that's just not how this works. No. I'm not a
Part
doctor.
of the barrier in my own recovery and getting started was my mom had to figure out where to get me insurance because we didn't always have it. And my mom was always someone who worked 2, 3, 4 jobs. And now I see working in a community mental health, we have people who have state insurance, which is great if you happen to be lucky enough to qualify and get a ride into DHS and have someone to help you fill out paperwork if you need help and get to the hospital for your initial appointment. Now, once that's all set up, yes, sure, we can go grab somebody and we'll bring it in. We'll come to your house. I mean, I beat doors down all the time, but the disconnect there is that, especially in rural communities, there are a lack of free clinics. There's a lack of transportation to get folks in to just get the help they need. Let me get myself together because I don't want to be crying. Okay. I think the biggest challenge we have is funding and not knowing if we're going to continue to have funding. And because we are Medicaid and the majority of the people that we serve are pretty severely disabled, not just with mental health issues, but the majority of our funding goes for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities who have significant physical as well as cognitive issues. And so, you know, if Medicaid gets cut or if our system gets privatized, my biggest concern is that we won't be able to serve the individuals that we're serving the way we're serving them. So that's the biggest thing is managing the public funds and providing the care that we need to provide for the individuals that we serve.
I don't even know where to start with that. He was in the age group where he couldn't stay on our insurance after, what was it, 18? We pay cash. It all adds up. And you buy all these medications, you pay $1,000 for a script, and it doesn't work after taking 7 of them. And you throw that one out and you start all over again. And his teeth, Medicaid Dilant ruined his teeth when he was a kid. And now he's having to have all of his teeth crowned.
They wanted to lock this kid up, man. They wanted to lock that. Look how peaceful that kid is. And they wanted to lock him up or throw him away because he has a mental illness. It's disgusting.
Because he clenches his teeth at night, so he's fractured all.
So do I. It's called grinding your teeth. I do the same thing. I got to wear a mouthpiece. So what, you going to throw me in jail? You going to lock me up in a mental hospital? So I grind my teeth at night?
Of his teeth, and they're all wore right off. So that's like $2,000 for 2 teeth.
The insurance didn't cover much of it, did it?
Oh my God, no. By the time he was...
Every time I go to the dentist, they tell me that. You grind your teeth, you grind your teeth, you grind your teeth. You got to wear a mouthpiece. You got to wear a mouthpiece. This shit's normal, man.
Then he had no insurance. We couldn't even afford to pay for his insurance. He doesn't have insurance through his job. And we tried to get him on Medicaid, but since he lived with us, his household income was too high to get him on Medicaid. So we just had to pay for everything. Meds at one point were like $4,000 a month. And obviously milking cows, he couldn't pay for him. Grab me a Kleenex.
It is really very unfair because insurance companies don't look at mental health the same as they look at the physical health.
They don't.
And it is.
Let me tell you a little story about that. Same, I don't know, I said this before. I went to get my medicine. I got to go every 3 months because people abuse the medicine I take. And it's become to the point where I got to go every 3 months to get it refilled because other people get addicted to it and abuse it. So now I get punished, right? So when my doctor puts it under mental health, I only have so many checkups. So my insurance won't cover it. So now we got to recode it, right? This guy just said they don't look at it the same, mental health and physical health. They don't. So now they got to recode me getting my pills refilled for a reason I don't even, it's not even my fault. I got to go every 3 months. When people abuse the drug I'm on, it's for ADHD. They abuse the drug. So I get punished. And then I get punished again from my insurance company because they don't cover mental health visits. You only allowed so many. Amazing.
It is still an issue. So, the private insurance should cover the mental illness.
What do you like to do?
Milk cows.
Anytime
What do
you're
you like
ready,
to do
Ken, you
for
want to
fun?
speak about it, let me know.
You do anything fun?
Work in my workshop. He just finished that one about a month ago.
So frustrating.
Antarsia. You just cut these pieces out and you put them back together like puzzles, and it takes quite a lot of patience to cut them out good and a lot of sanding.
I didn't do that one yet.
This is one you're planning on doing soon?
Someday.
Yeah, I work with people that are always trained.
Here's one of his. This is a cutting board that he made. That's black oak or a black walnut oak and white oak. So he still don't talk a lot. It's all up here. He just can't make it come out of his mouth the way he wants to,
The community is probably the biggest reason he's as functional as he is, because the community helps him. He does his own banking. They help him. The auto parts store guys know him. Everybody's there and supportive. Yeah, it takes a village to raise a kid,
Nothing wrong with the guy. What the fuck?
It's really unfair when you talk about someone who needs attention or needs care, can't afford it. I've had patients right now who have to make a decision about medication, and they'll tell me, "Listen,
Man, it's sad.
I can't afford the $3 medication. I need the
Trying to
$1
stay relaxed,
medication." So
but
you
some
say,
of the
"Well,
shit in here,
come
man."
on, $3." But if someone's really struggling that much and saying, "I need the $1 medication," at this point, there's other things that are going on with it. So I think that's part of the issue. It's not a priority for us in our country. We view it as, this is America. Get yours like I got mine. Patients who will go without treatment. They cost us. If you look at the number of patients we're seeing in the forensic setting, in the jail setting, many cases, these are folks who failed outpatient treatment. The shift is going from basically outpatient treatment to criminal justice treatment at the time, which is much more expensive. Our whole system could be corrected and needs help at this point, not just mental health.
One look at a state hospital and any layperson would say, okay, this is a prison. In fact, some asylums, like the Upper Peninsula Asylum, were literally converted into prisons. Since the end of the asylum model, we have seen the rise of mass incarceration. When there was deinstitutionalization, a lot of these patients did become homeless, and they were arrested by the police and put in jail. This is something that we see all the time.
When I was in prison, I received 2 quote-unquote official mental.
Hey guys, I apologize, but I gotta go to work. I'm gonna finish that later today. It's very interesting. I'm trying to remain calm because it's so sad, because that guy's just a normal dude, right? Yeah, you might have some mental health issues or concerns, but it's not stopping him from being and doing what he wants. Man, it's just frustrating. He seems like a sweet kid, right? And he's just trying to make his way in life. Obviously, people wouldn't help him if he was this terror kid, running around the town destroying shit. That's the problem with mental health. Everyone thinks that if you're mentally ill, you're just this dangerous person, that commit all these crimes. It's upsetting. But what time? Probably like around 4:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, it was a great. I don't know how I found that. We were scrolling through there, and it all comes full circle, right? With like every morning, went from Kensington to, at the end of that documentary there's only like 15 minutes left or something, but they were talking about how they get put back on the streets, right? Because they ain't on the right meds or whatever. But yeah, that guy was right. The whole thing needs reformed. It's sad. Yeah, it's bigger for sure. It started out, yeah, it's so crazy, right? Yeah, Linda, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's a great documentary. I don't know. Like I said, I never even thought about looking anything up like that. I just happened to be there, and I asked you guys you want to watch it, and it's very interesting. It's very eye-opening, and then it's frustrating for me. With some of them situations, it's just frustrating. It's a great topic, and we'll rehash this later. Give me something to think about. Feel so bad for that kid, right? Because I mean, look at his artwork. I mean, look his artwork being woodwork, but I mean, the dude's a gentle giant. He's just misunderstood. And that's the problem with society. We're misunderstood. I mean, we're all on different levels. You can't just tell somebody you need therapy, and that's and then it don't work, and then what? So you can't just tell people what they need. They got to figure out what they need. Yeah, exactly, man. They don't do shit. Yeah, so it's definitely going to be I don't know. I have a lot to think about today. What a way to start the morning. Usually I go to work and I'm kind of frustrated, right? It's so eye-opening. Like, and then when you think about, I gotta go, but when you think about back in the day, like they threw them in there like they were like these. It was like, I don't know, man, how they treated people back in the day with mental health. And it makes so much sense why, like, our grandfathers, I'm 42, but like my grandfather and his dad, and then my dad, like, why people didn't look at it like that. Like, you were ashamed. You didn't want to be thrown into a damn hospital, right? Oh, like that dude said, oh, I ain't talking about that. I ain't saying nothing about my wife having that. Why? But you take her to the hospital, she broke her leg right away. It's kind of sad, dude. But anyway, food for thought. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you guys, man. You make it so much easier to do this in the morning, having company in here, and I'll see you later today. Yeah, John. Have a safe day at work, everyone. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Have a good one.